How is everybody doing today? Hope you had a good Sunday. I know some people watch Super Bowl. I really didn't get a chance to watch it. I was doing homework, and my mind and heart went another place while I was doing homework. I got to thinking about a lot of people are starting to face job layoffs. They call it workforce reduction now, whatever that means. But a lot of people are starting to face that now. And today, that's what I wanted to talk about is how to get through being laid off. I'm saying, how do you know about that? You're looking at a person that was laid off from a great paying job. Even though you was a contractor, still was W-2, but you was considered a contractor. It was no benefits. It was my first job in IT or tech. It's an ISP place. I don't even like saying their name. And before I start this, I want to say that I don't hold any ill will. I don't hold any negative thoughts. That actually made me go to another level up here and spiritually. Um, Showed me a lot of things that I didn't know I had. And I thank God for giving me the mindset and the spiritual strength to go through it. But I want to make sure that I say that before I get into this because sometimes people think that you hold on to stuff. I don't because I don't want to ever be a bitter person. Bitterness is dangerous. Bitterness will cause a roadblock that is really hard to get around. You have to root all bitterness out of your system in order to progress in life. Or you will always find yourself blaming another person, blaming a circumstance, just playing the blame game. It's always somebody else's faults. But when you get spiritually and mentally strong, you start to realize that sometimes trials come to make you stronger. Just like lifting weights or trying to be a professional athlete, you go through the trial of becoming great, where you have to work out, you have to get better, you go through the ups and downs. Same way in life. So, how did I apply the Bible to my life in tough and enduring circumstances? And we finna talk about that. How I got through being laid off. And I hope this encourages somebody. I am not a pastor. Um, I just want to share how you can use the Bible to walk through tough circumstances, to get through tough circumstances, because sometimes when you're going through tough circumstances, sometimes all you have those moments where it's just you. Everybody else is doing what they have to do, but it's just you, and you have to deal with yourself and the circumstance. And I just want to share a couple of scriptures with you and let you know that you can make it through it. It's all about your perspective, your mindset, and your spiritual strength in relationship with God, whoever you serve. I serve God and His Son, Jesus Christ. That's who I serve. So with that being said, let us go to the next. Let's go to the next slide. So the process of being laid off. It says Psalms 34 and 19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. Sounds easy when you read it, but when you go through it and you stay faithful to the Lord, He will deliver you out. So, working at this place, I think I was there like 3 years, went through many cycles of it. Many cycles of people either being laid off or people resigning or people leaving. But when it came to my time, there were many options that I could have explored. And this is why I don't hold any ill will. This is why I don't hold any negative thoughts, because I understand that there were some things that I could have done better. There were some things that I didn't do that I should have did. So I won't put all the blame on the company. I don't hold any ill will towards management at all. They made a business decision. And the reason why I don't is because I know I did everything in the best of my ability. Even in my flaws, I still was performing and doing what I need to do. Matter of fact, you can probably go through that company right now and find my initials on a lot of those, what they call them, test and turn-ups and stuff. Right now, you can probably find it. However, the process of being laid off, right? A lot of times you don't know it's coming, and sometimes you do know it's coming. This is before remote work. We was working in the office. They only let us work remote a couple times back then, but a lot of people want you to be in the office. They want to see you sometime, but this is how the game go. I told my wife about it ahead of time, like, I don't know how long, much longer they're gonna let me be here. I'm doing everything I can, but I used to always say I was making so much money, they just gonna have to lay me off. I used to joke around like that all the time, but it ended up happening just like that. And like I say, well, it was no issue, but still going through the process of being laid off it still ain't fun. No matter how tough you think you are, it still kind of suck. So when that day came, because there was a couple other guys we used to always talk about. Well, it's coming. You don't know when, but it's coming. So this is what happened at the ISP place. Remember it almost like it was yesterday. And once again, I gotta say this. I am so past it. I just want to share because I want to let people know that you can get past it. I don't hold nothing over nobody's head. I'm just telling you facts. What happened? We was at work. I think the week before it happened, that weekend. The manager would always go on vacation. They would say, "All right, man, I'll catch y'all next week, man. I'm about to go on vacation." They'll let you know like Friday evening or something like that. And they were like, "Oh, wow, okay." I guess they finna start doing layoffs because it was so predictable, right? And then I think it Monday or Tuesday? Can't remember. But I remember the contractor, the person who hired me as a contractor, I remember them calling me and saying, "Hey, what's going on? Uh we can't get in touch with them, or we're not getting the contract renewal information and stuff like that." And I kind of knew right then. I said, "Well, there we go." And then they the manager don't come to you. They send one of the other people to you. One of the other guys there to come to you and say, "Well, yeah, we're gonna have to go ahead and get you off this computer and lay you off." You know what I'm saying? No problem. Got my stuff, put it all in the box. That's why I didn't have a lot of stuff in my cubicle or desk or whatever, because I knew that one day it could happen. So I don't pack heavy or have a lot of stuff. So had enough just to fit in the box. Did all that. Took all my little gadget stuff, um, and did that. And right when I was about to get ready to get my stuff, I think the manager, I don't even want to say dude's name, but he called me to the back, um, tried to give me the little speech or whatever, and I told him, "Look, man, I ain't trying to hear all that, man. I'd rather y'all just keep it real with me and just say that, but I don't got time to hear the long, hate this had to happen speech." Because I had dealt with him enough, you know what I'm saying? I kind of was, I want to say irritated, but I kind of just knew how the game go. I'm not, sometimes I can sit back and watch and see how things go. I'm not, and not go against the grain. I just know how the game go at the same time. So I didn't feel like going through the whole speech. Like, nah, I'm not fit to. If I'm laid off, I'm fit to go ahead and go to the crib. I'm not fit to sit here and listen to I hate this had to happen kind of speech because to me, you being disingenuous, and that's what I don't like. People being disingenuous. I see through the disingenuous or the bull crap. Some people call it bull crap, so I see through it. But the next part of the process is this is the part that suck is having to call my wife and let her know that it happened. She was pregnant with my son. Remember the phone call like it was yesterday. And I told her, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can promise you, with God on my side, we not going to go without. We not. I'm not going to let this take me down a negative path. We will make it through it. I promise you that. And that's where I was. Did it hurt? Sure. Did it suck? You're right, it did. But one thing about life, you will face many disappointments, many afflictions, but it's all about how you look at it. That's what I learned. It's all about how I look at it. Because there's a negative tunnel and there's a positive tunnel. You can go down either one. And I can tell you from experience, before I did this, I went down many of negative tunnels, and it always it's like a rabbit hole that is hard to get out of. You don't know what's on the other side of it. That's why it's good to stay positive even in negative situations. Because many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. Sometimes you have to be patient on the deliverance part and really understand I'm going through this for a reason. Not to blame anybody, not to look down on anybody, not to be mad at anybody, but to evaluate myself, and it's making me for something. This is not for nothing. I look at it that way. And I'm passing it on to anybody who wants to hear this. You have to stay positive. That's probably the most important thing is to stay positive throughout the process of being laid off. Another part of the process is going to the unemployment office. Having to go to the unemployment office. And then you get to the unemployment office and they tell you that you can't get it because of a situation that happened years ago. I talked about this on one of my other podcasts. I got hired on at the airport, and I think I filed a week before I got hired, but they hired me the same week early, and I didn't stop it, and I should have, but I didn't, and I paid the price for it. That's why I'm so diligent and so hard about making good choices and good decisions when you in those situations because it will come back and bite you every time. I'm telling you from experience. That's why I'm so hard about it. That's why I'm like I am on a podcast, the Thinking Game podcast. Make sure to check that out. We'll be making another one on Tuesday. But life is a thinking game. Right here, the process of being laid off, it was a thinking game. So now they telling me I can't get unemployment because of that situation. I had to pretty much pay that stuff back or whatever, back pay or whatever, paying them back. So I had to figure out another plan. And pretty much I went to hustle mode. And I'll talk about that towards the end. I went to hustle mode. I was cutting grass, um, finding anything I could to find a little part time stuff, but I went to straight hustle mode. But we're gonna talk about that toward the end. But this is the one thing I want to say: when you being laid off, you gotta stay positive as you can. I'm not saying it's easy, but it helps to get through it day by day. The next slide. Dealing with other people's opinion. Dealing with other people's opinion when you're being laid off, when you go through any trial or tribulation. We all make mistakes. We all go through trials. We all have afflictions. But dealing with other people's opinions. I'm going to give you the verse first. It is dangerous to be concerned with what others think of you, but if you trust the Lord, you are safe. What is that saying? Why does that verse stick out to me? It is telling you, don't be so concerned about what others think of you, but if you trust in the Lord, you are safe. The Lord knows everything about you. Everything. A lot of people have opinions about you, and they don't even have the totality of who you are. They don't have the totality of the situation. A lot of people are biased towards something or a side, and a lot of people, some people just don't like you. Some people don't like to see you successful. It's just reality. And when you fall or when you slip, it be those same people that be like, "Yep, there you go. I knew he wasn't gonna be like that for long. He didn't deserve that anyway. Why did he get laid off for? He must have did something." All kind of stuff. But once again, it is dangerous to be concerned with what others think of you. When you trust in the Lord, this is why I am the way that I am. And some people don't like it. I get it. But when you trust in the Lord, you are safe. Your safety, mentally, physically, and spiritually, is in the Lord when you trust Him. And when you trust Him, it's things that you just won't do. When I was younger, before I started going back to church, I didn't trust in the Lord, and I used to do all kind of crazy stuff. But when you make that change, this is what I'm saying. When you make that change and you switch over and you give your life to God and you trust the Lord, things will change. I promise you. I'm telling you from experience, things will change. Will you still face trials? Yes, you will. But the change is you can handle it from a different mindset and perspective, because the more that you carve out time and devote to the Lord and learn of the Bible and the words of God, the better off in life, we're going to get to that, you're going to be. The more you can handle things when they come your way. Will you still feel sorrow? Sure you will. Will it still kind of suck? Yes. But I promise you, if you really lean into it and take it at face value, it will put you at another level, mentally and spiritually. You'll be surprised. But a lot of people, they reject it. It's more emotion based now. It's more feeling now. But if you can factor this into your thinking, God's word factor like this verse, it's dangerous to be concerned with what others think of you. Have you ever thought about what the Lord thinks of you? What's His purpose for you? Sometimes, like when you go through hard trials, people say, man, if you would have done this, if you would have done that, or I would have done this, I would have done that. But they not you. When it's just you dealing with your situation, a lot of people don't have the same mindset that you have. They may not have the same drive that you have. That's why you have to know about you. Know what you're good at, know what your skills are, and you go from there. That's what I had to do. I had to look at myself and figure out what I'm good at, what my skills at, and what I need to improve on. So the second part of that, oh sorry, what my other one at? Say the second part of it, Matthew 16:13 through 20. Says, when Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked the disciples, who do people say the Son of Man is? They replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, still others say Jeremiah and one of the prophets. But what about you? He asked. Who do you say that I am? Simon Peter answered, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Why do I say these verses right here? A lot of times, this is why you have to not get caught up in other people's opinion. Because people gonna say things. People saw Jesus perform miracles, and they still try to say things and who this dude is and who do you think he is. And sometimes when people come and tell you what so and so said, this about you, that about you, you should ask them, who do you say that I am? You know me more than the people that's talking. Who do you say that I am? If you say I'm solid, don't worry about what they saying. I don't care about what people have their little side talk. I don't get caught up in that. I don't. And I know people gonna say, well, that's you. Hey, that's fine. I get it. But I'm telling you, don't get caught up in what people are saying about you, especially the negative. The positive, okay, I get it. But the negative side talk, don't get caught up in that. Sometimes people have problems within themselves and they project it on other people. Nothing you can do about that. There are some people out there that are struggling so much internally that they lash out and talk crazy about other people and they don't never deal with themselves. That's why it's dangerous to be concerned about what others think of you. Put it in God. What does God think of me and what's his purpose for me? That's where the safety is. Because thinking about what people thinking about you, that stuff will bounce around in your head and you'll go down that negative zone. And you don't want to go down that negative zone. Just living long enough, I'm telling you, don't let another person's opinion cause you to go into a weird or negative direction. Trust the Lord. Put your safe trust in the Lord, not in other people's opinion. So, another thing about dealing with being laid off is getting back to a place of stability. Psalms 55, verse 22. Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. Sometimes you have to cast your burden on the Lord, and it may be more than one day. When you're praying, when you're meditating, I don't care if you're driving in the car. If that negative thought come across your mind, cast that to the Lord. Lord, help me get past this negative thought that I'm having, this negative feeling that I'm having. I need you to sustain me right now. When you do that and you trust in what you're doing, you're casting your burden to the Lord. He will permit you to not be moved. But before you get the permit, you have to cast the burden on the Lord and trust that he can take that burden from you and get through the situation. That happens a lot of times when you're going through tough situations. You feel the burden of it. And sometimes you got to ask the Lord to take that burden away or ease the burden. And he will sustain you and keep you from being moved to that negative place. But you have to trust before you get the permit. Trust. And then you can start getting back to that place of stability because you do feel a level of instability when you get laid off. I can say that. I can honestly say that. You do feel that. But when you put your stability and your mental stability in the trust of the Lord, a lot of stuff won't throw you off. You'll start looking at things from a different perspective. I'm just telling you from experience. You'll look at it from a totally different perspective. Learning how to make adjustments after being laid off. You have to make the adjustment. Philippians chapter 4, verses 12 to 13. Paul said, I know both how to be abased and I know how to be abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. When you understand this verse and you really apply this to your life, when you trust the Lord, your faith is strengthened, and you really start applying this to your life. You can be up, you can be down, you can be left, or you can be right. You will make it through just about anything with the help of the Lord. You can make it through anything, in my opinion. You can make it through anything. I know it's people out there that said they're hungry, but don't let hunger put you in jail or put you in a legal situation. You have to learn how to be abound, how to be on top, how to take advantage of circumstances, and you got to know how to be a base when you're at the lowest point. If you can operate at both, it'll make you a balanced person. And some people probably think you're weird. When I got laid off, we used to go to Food Giant, pick five, throwing it on the grill, um, just making the adjustment. We not going out to eat like we was. The lifestyle had to change. We had to go back to a lifestyle that we can live on that made sense. And I gotta say, I love my wife. She supported me through that. She was working at Home Depot, and I was trying to hustle and bustle. I think I was selling cars at the time. Too, I had just got my dealer's license, um, and I was in the process of beginning to start that, but losing the job, I wasn't able to fully sustain like I wanted to. It was really tough, but I had to figure it out. But that still sustained me in the midst of between jobs while being laid off. Was selling used cars, like going to auctions and selling cars. So, but I knew how to scale it back. My family is from Sweet Home. I know how to make simple stuff. I understand that when the times are good, you enjoy the good times, and then when the bad times come, you gotta know how to adjust and make it through the bad times so things get back good. I was taught that through my family values of living and watching them go through tough times and surviving. Like I said, I had a grandma. She had a job. She worked at College Station Elementary in the cafeteria. She would grocery shop and get commodity food. Use both of them. Even when things was good, she would still get commodity food. She had so much commodity food in her kitchen and groceries. It was crazy. You would thought she was rich, but she had everything commodity. She had powdered milk. I probably had powdered eggs, the pork in the canned food, the peanut butter, all of that stuff. We talking about the old school commodity food where they give you the big can, silver can of pork, the big old can of peanut butter, and the big old stick of butter and stuff like that. The little sweet cream butter, whatever it was. But learning how to be abased and how to abound. You got to learn how to be high and low. Don't allow being low cause you to go down a negative place. That's all I'm saying. You got to be creative. Use it as motivation. So, how did it make me stronger being laid off, getting through that situation? It made me, you'll say, usually when it's your first time facing something, it feels like a daunting task to overcome. It does. Whether it's a new job, learning something new, doing something you never done before, it seemed like a daunting task. But how do you get stronger? You do it one day at a time. You figure it out, handle your business. When I got laid off, I had just got to say I had just got the dealer's license, so I was selling cars as much as I could with the little money that I had. Was cutting grass, and I remember I think it was a few months. I think it was like 2 months. I found a job. I was working for the state, but before that, I had another job opportunity. It was working for. I think I got interviewed working for the cab company, and I got interviewed working for the state. Why am I saying this? I had a choice of going either way. Went to the interview for the cab company. I didn't understand what they wanted at the time, but I think they wanted me to be their total IT guy, just do everything. Whatever came up, I'd get it done. It sounded cool, but I didn't think that it would be a good idea because I was having a son. My wife was getting ready to have a baby, so I didn't want to risk doing something that would take so much time I wouldn't be able to help my wife out with my son. So I think that was the factor in me not taking that job. And I remember when I interviewed for the state job, they wanted to do like a meeting or something like that. So I had to go get a webcam. I had like an older computer in the house. And I remember I literally set that thing up 5 minutes before the meeting or something like that. Got the drivers, everything done. I'm an IT guy. I'm a tech guy, so I know how to do that stuff. And got the meeting started. Did the interview. He told me when I got hired, the reason he hired me because I was able to connect to a meeting with a webcam. Everybody else struggled with it. And the thing that was the most tough was you're talking about a $20,000 decrease in what I was getting paid. Almost $30,000 increase. Decrease, not increase, but decrease. So it made me stronger because it made me look at things from a different perspective. That's why when I tell these kids, it's hard to make it on 30,000 with a family. I'm not saying this to be joking around. I can make it funny, but in all seriousness, when you're an adult and you got a family, wife, kids, making 30, it's not easy, it's not fun. It'll make you stronger if you wanted to. I didn't let it take me down in the dumps. I looked at it as this is just a stepping stone, but I'm not gonna be here for a long time. I refuse to accept that I'm gonna be making 30,000 for the next 30. That's not gonna happen. I used to tell my wife that it's not gonna happen. And with me choosing to go to the state, thank God for His wisdom and His direction, knowing how to be abound and abased. Right, working at the state, I was able to get linked up at another place that I had to go to through the state. And because they saw me come in there and do the work, they said we can probably hire this guy here. He'll probably do some good work. And was able to find a great job through working through the state just by going there. Sometimes you just don't know how the choice can lead to other things. But you got to be strong enough to understand that. And I think I was there to stay for like a year and a half, something like that. Then I ended up getting the next job working as an IT specialist, something like that. And that job was great. But it made me stronger because when I got to that job after the state, once you conquer being laid off and you get back to that point of stability and you find a job that's uh, just about at the same level that you was making, you feel like you can conquer anything. You feel like you can conquer anything. And also, what it made me think about is how to be a professional through it all. How to be a professional. I don't really talk bad about them. I could really care less. Because what they did is they made me stronger. Pretty much made me like a super soldier almost. Made me stronger. What don't kill you make you stronger. So that's what I'm saying. I don't have no ill will, no negativity, anything of that nature. All it did was make me stronger. That's all it did. So with that being said, how environment can have an effect on mindset. One of the things that really clicked in when I got laid off is that hustler mentality. Some people grow up around gangs. Depending on where you at in the inner city, you grow up around gangs. You may grow up around killers. I grew up around hustlers, man. I grew up around. I'm not gonna say these dudes' names. Some of these dudes still fighting for their freedom, but man, I grew up around hustlers, man. And I didn't go down that route, but I was able to observe and watch different little elements of the mindset of hustlers, man. I grew up around hustlers. That's what I grew up around. Sometimes you got to make that adjustment. Sometimes you got to know what the hustle is. Being able to understand what the hustle is, see it coming before it get there. Being able to adjust to just about any situation. Like when a drought comes. It's harder to hustle when the drought comes because everybody don't have what they need to hustle. It's that same way with being laid off. It's almost like a drought. You got to figure out how to go get it legally, but legally though, not being so easily thrown off. If something else happened, you got a plan B or a plan C. I can't sell this, well, I'm gonna get this, this, and this. Hustler mentality is I'm gonna make the money regardless. I'm gonna figure it out, and that's the kind of personality that I have. I'm gonna figure it out. Just like we're making these podcasts, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm not buying no subscribers. I'm not buying none of that. I'm doing it the old fashioned way. Get on here day by day, whenever I get on, post, make content. Hopefully I can encourage people. Hopefully I can encourage the youth to understand that when you become an adult, it's not as granular or easy as you think it is, but if you think your way through it and handle your business, you will make it. But I grew up around hustlers, man. I mean, that's kind of how I grew up around. In them teenage years, grew up around hustlers, man. I just didn't take on the activities they was doing, but I took the elements of the mindset of it. And sometimes the environment can have an effect on your mindset, man. So you gotta be careful about the environment that you're in. But the mentality definitely helped me get through being laid off, though. And I just want to say to anybody that's going through that now, 'cause I know it's like federal jobs and all that, man, you will make it through. You just have to go through it one day at a time, one step at a time, and stay positive as you can. Last slide. Being able to combine life skills and spiritual skills, this will make you a balanced person when you can understand Bible and apply to life. Am I saying I'm a Bible scholar? Absolutely not. Am I saying I'm a life expert? I'm not going to say that either, but I know for me, when I started to read the Bible for myself and take it for the value that it is, and it's a great value, I'm not saying it's, I know people like to debate the Bible, but I leave that up to you. I'm not fit to debate the Bible with anybody. It just don't make sense. And learn how to apply life skills. A lot of things you experience in life is in the Bible. A lot of people that you experience, those personalities are in the Bible. You got to read it for yourself. It's so many things in the Bible to read. You'll be on here all day talking about it, but you have to read it for yourself. You have to trust it for yourself. I can't make you want it for yourself. You have to want it. That's the beautiful thing about the Bible and your spiritual skills. You have to want to be great in life and in your spiritual life. You got to want to be great. If you don't want it, then you're not going to do it. Just like how you want McDonald's or you want a lifestyle, you got to want the Bible and you got to want to live a life that people can glean off of and people can respect, or people can look at that and say, if he can do it, Mike can do it, I can do it. Even if they don't like you, some people still be like, I respect it. He trying to do better. And they may not like you. And that's life skills, dealing with people that don't like you. Still being able to operate around people that don't like you. Because you're spiritually strong enough to handle that life trial or situation. Like I said, I've been through enough in life before I started going back to church and being able to overcome those things. And then you add the spiritual thing and the relationship with God to the life skills. It'll make you that much stronger and balanced. Before I started going to church on my own, I was so irrationally confident, probably super arrogant, that the balance that I didn't have is knowing how to be humble. When I built my relationship with God, became a married man, learned how to be humble, it changed the game for me. Changed the game. But I can say that before I came to church, that's what kept me from going over the deep end, is my irrational confidence and the arrogance. Probably kept me from going down the negative tube or the negative space. But when I came to God, got myself together, he brought me in, polished me, cleaning me up, still cleaning me up. I'm not perfect. I'm in progress. He's progressing me right now. But he's cleaned me up and say, let me show you how to use the skills that I gave you the right way. And that's what you want to do. You want to use, everybody has gifts from God that they were given. And if you go to God and let him mold you, he'll show you how to use it the right way. But you have to go to God for yourself. If you go to church, you have to go to church for you and your family. You have to learn for yourself. Don't get caught up in what's on the side of the road. Focus on driving on the road. Everybody is going through something. You and everybody else that you see in this world are going through something. As long as you live, you will have troubles. As long as you live this life. It's all about how you look at it. It's all about your perspective. And I want to say to anybody that has been laid off, I want to say, you can get through it. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. You can get through it one step at a time. Positive thinking, one thought at a time. Figuring it out one process at a time. Next thing you know, you done got through it and you done overcame. Sometimes the hardest part is taking that first step and not going down the negative road. You can still grieve, you can still have, but you don't want to go down a negative road with those feelings. Go down a positive road and let God deliver you out. Let him permit you not to be moved. But you got to trust in him and allow him to guide you through the process. Don't focus on other people's opinions. Focus on the Lord. Put your eyes on the hills and focus on the Lord where your help comes from. Like I say, I'm not a preacher. I'm just telling you, how did I apply the Bible to my life in tough and enduring circumstances? If you learn how to apply the Bible, you don't have to be a preacher. It's things that preachers teach you to understand and bring you closer to God. And then you take it and you apply it. Read it for yourself as things are opened up to you and apply it to your life, especially in tough and enduring circumstances. Yo, this is Mike. Let me know what you think about this because I don't do this a whole lot. But let me know what you think about this because I can give you Bible scriptures that apply to life. I'm more of a life application kind of person. When I read scriptures, I see how does it apply to life? How can I apply this to a general circumstance that anybody can go through? Because there are circumstances that a lot of people experience on a general level. And if you would like me to talk about that, let me know in the comments. This is Mike. I'm signing out. Thanks for watching. And you can get through it. Ask God for help. One step at a time, one positive thought at a time, one situation figured out at a time. Next thing you know, you done overcame. I'm signing out. Thanks for watching.